Welcome back to Cedar Point. On today's episode, we'll be taking a look at Camp Snoopy, Frontier Town, and the last little bit of the Gemini Midway. This is the entrance to Camp Snoopy. It reminds me a lot of Knott's Berry Farm, which is also owned and operated by Cedar Fair out in the Los Angeles area. My grandparents lived in the Los Angeles area, and growing up as a kid, I remember visiting Knott's Berry Farm a number of times. That's why this just reminds me so much of it. This is the Woodstock Express. It's a great beginner roller coaster for those that are just starting to get introduced to roller coasters. It has a fairly simple layout, but I think overall it's a good layout. Now we're over in the Gemini Midway, and you can see here you can get cheese on a stick, Parmesan fries, and buffalo fries. Ooh, that sounds really good right about now. And of course, this area is called the Gemini Midway because the Gemini roller coaster is the main attraction in this area, and you're looking at it right now. It is a fantastic classic roller coaster. If you have a chance to ride on it, I would highly recommend it. I mean, you really can't go wrong with any of the coasters here at Cedar Point. It's just like which one is better than the other one. So I know we're going to kind of bounce around a little bit between some different sections, but this is all stuff that is more toward the back of the park anyway. This is the Cedar Creek Mine Ride. It's a classic mine train roller coaster, and it's very neat to look at visually. When I visited, I didn't go on this ride just because the line was really long, but this is probably one coaster I would go on. It looked really fun. Now this was something I didn't expect to see at a theme park. A leather goods store? I mean, it makes sense because they do have the Frontier Town. And leather goods do go with the Western theming they have. Now the sign for this ride says the Village Square Auto Livery. However, if you're looking at it on the map, they have it labeled as the Cadillac Cars. If you're into classic rides, this is definitely one you want to get on. It's really great and quite large, actually. Kings Island just got theirs back a few years ago. They used to have one a long time ago. They removed it, and then they put it back more recently. And the one at Kings Island is quite small compared to this one. This is one of the very few theme parks I've come across that actually has a museum dedicated to the history of the park and all of the achievements over the years. Now, I know someone will probably go down in the comment list and be like, my theme park has a big museum just like this. And I'm sure there are other theme parks with museums. Probably, Disney and some of the more, larger parks probably have museums. I just haven't gotten a chance to go to them in recent times and can't remember that they have or don't have one. This is a nice museum. However, it didn't really wow me in any way. But it was nice to see all the history and some of these models they had of the coasters, as well as, some of the old coaster trains that were on display. That was kind of cool, too. Oh, the Skyhawk. I do not like these kind of rides. They make me nauseous. I I'm not sure quite why they make me nauseous. It's not like a fear thing. I don't know. Leave a comment down below if you've been on this ride and let me know what your experience was. Was it a good experience or a bad experience? I'd like to know. Snake River Falls. Oh, this one has a story from my childhood in it. Okay, see, growing up in the Detroit metro area, this was my home theme park because it was the closest theme park to Detroit. So everyone from Detroit would always go over to Cedar Point. My parents and myself went to Cedar Point one year. I was about 8 years old. We went with some friends, some local friends, and we got in line for this ride. And my mom looked and said, is that the ride way up there? And she goes, oh, absolutely not. And she goes, I'm not going on this. Absolutely not. Of course, she was in the middle of the line, so there was no way to back out of it. Now, I actually enjoy the smaller versions of these, like the one that's over at Kings Island that they have, that's Snoopy themed. That's a really fun one. But I can remember sitting in between my parents when we went on this ride, and my mom was screaming like a little banshee, oh my gosh, Jesus, I'm coming home, I'm gonna die. It was so hilarious, and I just remember that story to this day. But she's one of those kind of people that has always hated amusement park rides of any kind. Like, she'll get on the Dumbo ride at Disney and scream on that, and I'm like, oh my goodness. But yeah, that was my first and only experience on this ride. And looking back at my 8-year-old self, I enjoyed it. It was a blast. So if you love the log flume type rides like this, definitely go on this when you're at Cedar Point. It was a blast. And here we have one of my favorite rides. I've not been on this one, but I've been on the one at Kings Island. This one looks to be better than the one at Kings Island, but again, the lines were astronomically long, and I didn't get a chance to ride this one, and I really wanted to. So again, please leave a comment down below and let me know if you've been on this ride. Did you like it? Did you hate it? And I'm sure if you loved it, then I'm going to be super disappointed that I didn't get to go on it. But, you know, maybe next time I'm over at Cedar Point, I'll get a chance to go on it and, you know, do a full review of it. We are now entering the Forbidden Frontier. This was a new themed section for the 2019 season. This is about as close as you're going to get to a Disneyland experience while being inside of a Cedar Fair park. You meet a whole bunch of different characters, including a sheriff, robbers, and a few others, and you go on this journey to find a stolen item, or at least that's how it was when I visited. I don't know if they have like several different stories they run through, but when I went here, that's what it was. I think we were looking for a stolen pocket watch or compass. Anyways, the theming was on point. It was fantastic. The acting was amazing, and it really immersed you into this kind of story where you got to interact and participate in. It was really fun, and I loved it, and I wish theme parks would incorporate a lot more of this kind of stuff. I know it's a lot of work to put it together, and you got to have all the staff and everything, but it's just, I like this kind of stuff versus roller coaster, roller coaster, roller coaster. It just kind of gets boring. I mean, roller coasters have a place, but, you know, to have your whole theme park just mostly roller coasters and not have any of this kind of stuff is disappointing. So this was a welcomed surprise. So Cedar Fair, if you're watching this video ever, congratulations on thinking outside of the box and doing something a little more Disney-like. You can also get a really cool view of the Millennium Force as it passes by through this area. If you want to experience everything the Forbidden Frontier has to offer, just like you were there, then head on over to the Patreon link on screen or in the description box below to get the raw and real edition of the Forbidden Frontier. Now we're in the heart of Frontier Town. This is where all the shops are, the food, and all the different live performances happen. All aboard! It's time to hop on the Cedar Point and Lake Erie Railroad. This is going to be your best and fastest way to get from one end of the park to the other. Although it doesn't take you all the way to the front entrance, it gets you pretty close, especially when you're tired from walking all day. This is very similar to the one that's at Kings Island, although the theming on this one is a lot better than Kings Island. Although, from people that have been going to Kings Island for many years, they said the theming used to be about the same as the one at Cedar Point. I don't know because I only started going to Kings Island in 2016 when I moved to Ohio, but everyone says that they used to be pretty much the same. And as the train pulls into the station, it's time to hop on board. If you'd like to see what it's like visiting the park after dusk when all the lights come on, I'll have a video posted over on my Patreon. Check the link in the description box below if you'd like to know what my thoughts are on how the park is to visit at night. That's going to do it for today's episode from Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio. I'd like to thank all of you for joining me. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next episode.